sanje chura tsoje chona lae sanje pade dani chopsuchi dage jinsu jibe tsonangin dala benje sanje dubore shoya sanje chura tsoje chona sanje pade dani chopsuchi dage jinsu jibe tsonangin dala benje sanje dubore shoya sanje chura tsoje chona lae sanje pade dani chopsuchi dage jinsu jibe tsonangin dala benje sanje dubore shoya.
Once again, good morning and greetings to everyone. So today we formally start the study of the text called the 37 Practices of All the Bodhisattvas.
Papa Shinrezil to Baro Shatsava, Tinderito, Sietambudi, Chundu.
Tarangi. Six-year-rich in Pigimberg and Denongi. The Lichana, she to Zoo Mambo, Tichida.
Today is the Tandani Karsa. Namu, our Lokiti Shorata, the Jacket or Lejaro Chavra, Namula Nachang Shatsava, our Lokiti Shorelana, Shinrezil Labore. Today, the Anit and that Siji de Karsana, Kangi Chugan, do Mizi Changsra, Kangi Chugan, the Changi Chutamjit and the chicken Patan Patas Chivitan, Pandora, the Tsuwami, but that's night at Tombani, the Tindilka, Patadesin, the Nido Chavara, the Mamadu Tindil. The shoots always in the things I would have chatted were resting there. And then do it and cheat the Junzi base. And Koran Chanagi and China Rashima, but the Nemamadu, but the Nigito by Nayas, do it and the chick the Junzi Bella, and Koran the Chalikar now in a touching to Gompa Kandaji Shiva and Simjan Hajala Zayuguni, and the Digi Tunzi Restra, Zebi, and it Kasana Lama Chotan, Suzu, Lamadan, and Shinrezi, Papa Shinrezi Ra, Shinrezi Godella. Ani Karchigan and Yegi Tad, Gosun Kube, Tuta, Niti May, Banya, that send a yam by Ani, Tuta, and Gosun Goba, Gosun the Tangans of Lunais and Laura, Tinde, Ani Kubeguni, and Kalana Shatsing.
So, if we take a read through the first stanza of the text, do we have the text, everyone? Do you have the text? So you can share for this session together, yeah? So that's the Tsigan Rich in the Dona Yaksara.
No.
So
Sijiri
and Tsigan this Chinamashi. Zilomambo. So everyone, if you take a read through the first stanza of the text, it starts with the line Namo Lokish Varya. So this Lokish Varya is a Namo Lokish Varya is a two Sanskrit lines, wherein like Lokish Varya is the Buddha of compassion. So it starts with this homage or this prayer to the Buddha of compassion. And in classical like Buddhist texts, when a text starts with this prayer, then it is meant to be understood as a study of bodhicitta or the ways of the Bodhisattva. And now if we read through the first line, you see that all things are beyond coming and going. So you meaning the one to the Buddha of compassion, or like your teacher who you see as one as the Buddha of compassion. So you see that all things are beyond coming and going. So here, even though it's translated just as things, things are meant to be understood as like all phenomena. And if you are more specific in the terms of like a Buddhist understanding of the word, then it's meant to be understood as like all compounded things. Nothing exists on its own, nothing is permanent, and nothing is absolute. So beyond coming and going. So this is in Tibetan. It is translated as beyond do meba doa meba ledra. So it's even though it's a literal translation, this two line it could be meant to be understood as the wisdom of emptiness. So you see that all things, all these compounded things are in the end, in the final like analysis, they are empty of nature, empty of like absolute nature. So you, Avalokiteshvara, or the Buddha of compassion, who sees that all compounded things are in the final analysis empty of nature, even though you have like come at an understanding of the wisdom of emptiness, yet you still strive solely for the sake of living beings. So, this second line, I think you can understand it. This is the now like the basis of how a bodhisattva thinks, or a bodhisattva is motivated by. And now the third line, to you, my precious Guru, inseparable from Lord Avalokita. Avalokita, Lokeshvara, Avalokiteshvara, these are all synonyms for the Buddha of compassion. And now the author, he's comparing like his own Guru to Avalokiteshvara. And in Tantric Buddhism, there's this practice in the higher levels of meditation wherein like you visualize the deity as one with your Guru. So this is an aspect of that kind of tantric practice. And he says, to my Guru, who is inseparable from like Lord Avalokita, the Buddha of compassion, I offer you my perpetual homage respectfully with my body, my speech, and my mind.
지난 진행이 자샤로 내가 가르치는 중전이 날에 안치 소소기 직 상황 송아 내가 가르치고 있는데 눈도 타는 거지 도이는 건 저기 있던 뭐 만들게 라 지금 내가 된 거만 중에 라 저기 소소기 치고도 직 갈로다 저 배배 있는 팀저 다야로 뭐 붙이기라 심리체로 뒷나시기 된다 코로나기 뒤에서 짬마라야 아니 짬마라 바제마요야다 아니 짬마 타신야다 된대기 치데 아니 소소가 라마다 아니 직 상제도 된대기 까는 텐시는 아니 고순 그거 침벽이 아니 샤츠야다 된대기
So it is customary, or is a custom in the old like classical Tibetan writings, Buddhist writings, to have like the first line of the work as a prayer to a deity or to your gurus, and this has like twofold meaning. One, to offer like respect and homage to the guru or the deity, and the second one is to like pray that he or she, the author, does not have any obstacles in like completing the text that he wants to like complete.
지당이 때 실루션 받아 아니 그러자 근데 지게지 뭐 저희는 그 파지 지도라든 진주 샤야도 지 바제 모여 지는데 지고라.
This is an aspect of the Tibetan culture, not just in a Buddhist sense of the culture, because in the Tibetan culture, before you embark on any kind of endeavor, like even as a normal lay person, when you go away to a far away place, or you're about to start a business, there's this custom to offer like homage and prayer to the deities, so that there is no like obstacles and that you are able to achieve success in that particular endeavor.
당나시 나는데 자갈다들이라 근데도 통보다 중간 고쳐와네 지금 뭐라당 남서거란 저기 지큐로 지인데 지라 지당이 제일 수주란 경제 남도 지기지라 이나던데 디 지엘이 가르쳐놓으려나 수수기 지금 당서 출래 대바이지네 근데 진이 내가 지원을 로데로 근데 저거라 안 수수기 대바데 이제는 잠잠랑도 주거다 근데 요거를 안 단다 디피시 상을 근데 지치어있는 수수기 남들 내가 중마다 많이 배 대바다 다나다 수수자요라만 가된다 아니 지 산지 연대도 체험들가 체비고니 아니 좀라 내가 가르쳐하는 수수 지 타신이라 뭐니 편도치 뭐 레스토랑 근데지네 내 전부 가서 샤츠 고디 고바디 디니로 저 레스토랑 지난게 다나가서 배신 나로를 시와는 뺨무시 샤츠 고바다 나가서 주부에도 샤츠 주로 고바다 네고 고바다 타두 고바다 시 다네고 고바다 나가서 지 가도 자와랑도 나와서 마유와 내가 가르이는 바 타정 토에도 싫어 타두기 고바디 가르라나 아니 사지 고마테도 저 이거 고바 타두데 들어 네 타바다 탄신비기 아니 고마테도 고바디 디지 저레스
So in Java songra So not just in the Tibetan culture, like the land we are all in right now, in India, if you are able to pay attention, like before they open a new store or a new restaurant, they pray to their own deities or gods by breaking coconuts or like making an offering. So this is almost the same, but in the Tibetan Dharma like texts. When you pay like a homage or when you pay like respect or when you pray to the deities or the gurus before taking on this like endeavor of composing a dharmic text, there is a deep and detailed like explanation about the need to like offer this homage But like if explained simply, like it is said like for the temporary aim of offering homage to the deities and the gurus is not to have any obstacles in completing the text. But the ultimate aim, of course, is to achieve enlightenment, so that you will be able to benefit the other sentient beings.
다른다 니바디 가르서 나가서 좀 담자와라더라 니 들리지 지인이 나도 지가바토는 시와는 수수 캐내라 다 배세 돈을 나가서 좀 담자와라라 나이 들리지 좀게 있어 캐내도다 들리지와라서 그래
Now the second line, the first line is a homage to the deities and the guru, and then the second line, in plain terms, it could be understood as like this promise that I am going to undertake this endeavor now. I'm going to do this, but like in a dharmic sense of the word, then it's about like setting the motivation for yourself to complete this text.
다들라 펜딘 중에 조비 상제 남스라 펜딘 중에 최장 상제의 컨디션은 아니 펜바다 대외긴 중에도라 아니 근데 조비 상제를 쪽발라데 지단게 연대에서 조발라데 파세도 지케샤 말아 차장 차상 상대니 근데 연대 아니 근데 상제 나라디 아니 상제 담이 당가 거를 때마다 망불 거라 아니 당초 둘레스 준대 대안에 근데 조비 상제도 가르쳤는데 아니 펜디게 중에 신바다 아니 dunzo야 콘조야 간데스 줄라나 아니 담비취 냠네 츠시 제발라 때네 아니 중샤주다 근데 중샤주지 레스라 대인데 아니 대일라네 시라 라리베스 근데 아니 사제다 샤주선바도 조기 아니 펜딘 준네도 조기 라네 시발라 가졸라 아니 디아고 시야라 가조베 칼 펜도 첨보다 라리기르스 가라도 미야보다 미야 간데지 조고서나 조기 아니 게세 샤주선베 쥐바도 가조 알라 야보 시게 유밀 아니 라리고레스 근데 이자 아니 딱 간주 가르시게 선다 데리디시 고야데 가르스나 젤라네 산젤라 오라 셀라네 산주선바 근데 이제서 산주선바도 조기 아니 간다디 카도 거라나나 젤셀라네 산주선바 고라 산주선바 나지게 아니 냠네 콘조게 직 러차니도 가르 차와 가르치기는 되게 라네 되게 가링 시 마시기 인스 시버차라데 뭐 마시 중절라 마시기 인라네 코란게 잠바탕 저데 잠바데
So the second line, as explained before, is a promise to complete writing this text. So if you read the first line, the perfect Buddhas who are source of all benefit and joy. Now notice like it doesn't say Buddha, it says Buddhas. So in the Buddhist sense of cosmology, we say like there have been endless Buddhas, and these Buddhas, they are perfect because they have accumulated or come to like a perfect understanding of all phenomena, like They have come to a perfect understanding of nature as it is. This is why they are called perfect. And these Buddhas who are perfect and have come to an understanding of nature, of reality as it is, these are considered to be the source of all benefit and joy. And now these Buddhas, they came, they arrived at this perfection only through accomplishing the sacred Dharma. And this Dharma, in turn depends on knowing how to practice, or how to practice the Dharma. So now the author, he makes this promise that to achieve like an enlightenment, you have to know the Dharma, and to know to have a real taste of the Dharma, then you have to know how to practice. So in the end, like, it's very important to know how to practice. So with this text, he says in the last line, I shall now describe the practices of all the Buddha's heirs. And in here, Buddha's heirs is used as a metaphor. Buddha is the Buddha himself, and the Buddha's heirs is used as a metaphor for the Bodhisattvas.
Buddha sangje la ka tanjo gi Buddha la nda shikari che ne hauma nga tu phege thole ne sangje la de gala sang la de gala chi nyumo be ni le sang pene nyumo sang pan sa de nga tu gi ngana tu tan nyumo be tam de be nyumo be ni de ku de na shi resra che ta de sangje de nyumo be ni le ba sang ni nyumo be du ba de shi ye du ba ta sang sa ra de ji la ani ka sa ji ko le je le si ko na khar ko na ani shi je yin de lo re je ba. Now, like
as we are studying this text in English, maybe I find it important to maybe explain to you like what the term Buddha means, because in the English translation, it's almost a literal translation of a word, but in the Tibetan word, it's called Sangye. And maybe if we have a little understanding of what it means in the Tibetan, then we have a better understanding of what is a Buddha. So in Tibetan, the Buddha is translated as Sangye, and there are two words. Sang means to be awake, or to be awake from the hold of these negative afflictions, or these negative emotions, or like to be awake from ignorance. And Ge means to have achieved all the like perfect qualities. So this is the definition of a Buddha. So when I was young, when I heard like Buddha, I used to have this notion that maybe this is the name of a person. This is some person, and I didn't really have an understanding of the meaning behind the word Buddha. But now, as I like studied, I feel like this word Buddha, it is something. The meaning of the word is something deep and profound.
Tenjogi ngarazo militi tanda milu mi lu den la dong le lawo chita te yo ma chirang ra sunam so de shi so ja chang bu ji sa wa teni ani de ji ta tu gor masalang sa le lawo chi ngajo ta tu ka ka bur tanda ngarazo ji mi lu den de te yo ba de ta kan zon nambe gi shena chi chewa ni kyang kyang ma le ya bu sa yi ba teni dig de wu chin ra ani ngajo tanda mi gi de ne te yo res am din de gi ne tenjo milu ye ka wa ta ka wa den de te ba de na ani karasan sana ngazugi dik tsawa chambu kharere la na ngazu sanje gi koma thoya la doye gi ani tizing do chabu restaurant mi gi luden gi chetu gor ma simje shema ba ju chi de shimi de gi sanje koma doye la tes kale khabu ra ta ina khona za saya tunya do da dinde gi de khona za chetu gor ma ju chik sanje gi koma thoya da nyumo chama pa ne shi je duba chama pa le sanje gi koma thoya da sanju gi sem ju le che la de khonju gi ten la kale khabu chabu res dinde in za ngaran zu de de luidi ani 지 질 배셔라 치는데 지 카를라나 페나 치파로를 개고와다 치기 자주 치파로를 다 같이 다니는 시간만 보여주지 노블나가라 되는 로고와이나 들려되는 로고와 제 제당 알아서 사지 고마 더야게 치데 아니 되게 밀리디 자와 첨부지 힘받던 거레스 주다 아니 밀리데니데 아니 페샤니라 더딘 데르스 아니 다디 딩가나 단다 탑디요레 아니 간조 라 드드 모스나 간조 라디오레 딘데 인자 아니 디 가르치고라나 다신 쿠에 촐리도 다다 신 땅가라서 단다 참 콜 코데오라 진짜 아니 쿠에 코아디 가르레 페샤르는 촐 페샤르스 라 쿠초기 파로레 게고와다 나란스 코아디레 파체고 단다 나란스 콜레 가리 뭐 가르치고 있으나지 제가 나직 두녀올 데더라 담보치 아니 나 아니 겐고차 아니 시 엔데 치는 간조 코라 젠도 데오라 먼저 디미츠 존은 조도야지 차고 말다 남베 심시단 채워이나 디네 인상 아주 데라 코 디디가라 땅 아주 파 딘데기 강에 데라 파 제고고도 상지 고마 타고고도나 아니 된적이 르된 디기 티네 아니 아주 치연냠네 치신치니 내가 상지 고마 타도 리버주라 대다 아니 아주 자주 침보질라 파 게고 아니 드신을 땡고 받으니 아니 빼도 더 샤고 레스라 티제 참말라 딘데지 데서다 못
So now like when we go to the next line, this is the actual start of the text, and like the first line, if you take a read through, it stresses like two very important aspects of the study of Buddhism, and the first one is the importance of like study, reflection, and meditation, and this is the method through which you are supposed to study Buddhism. And second, it stresses the importance or the preciousness of this human life that you have achieved. And so by study, reflection, and meditation, we mean like by study we actually mean like what we are doing right now, like listening to the Dharma. And the first is listening to a verbal presentation of the Dharma. And then the second is to reflect on the verbal presentation that you have received or the verbal teaching that you have received. And the third is to meditate on this verbal teaching that you have received and trying to internalize these qualities that you have heard about. And then the second aspect of this first stanza it stresses the importance of like the preciousness of this human life. In Buddhism, we say it is very rare and hard to achieve this like human life, because in Buddhism the samsara is divided into 6 different types of beings. So the human life, the human being, to achieve this like human life, it is considered to be very rare. And Deljur chobje da dishe jair and because this human life is considered to be like very favorable to practice the Dharma. And so in this, like if we take a look at the last line of the stanza, this human life, it is considered to be it is compared or like compared to a supreme vessel. But in the Tibetan text, here it is translated as a vessel, but even though it has the same meaning, in the Tibetan text, it is said like it is actually translated. It is actually written as a boat. So the human life, it is compared to a boat, and this samsaric existence in which like we keep taking rebirth. Then we get old and then we die. Like so, this vicious circle of birth, aging, and dying in samsaric existence is considered likened to an ocean or a water body. So this human life, this boat, we need this boat to be able to cross over this samsaric existence, which is this water body or the ocean. Plus.
제장 단다 근데 인상 아주 단다기 든다 디 걸라 오라서 나가서 된적이 밀리치 터요 인사로 하다 나가나 저기 주인해 봐 있나래 와 아니 주시해 봐 있나래 주저 가르서는 퇴성 공부를 해줘라 뭐 퇴봐 아니 삼바 아니 곰바 근데 지는 가서 사직이 고방에 살아야 돼야긴 가서는 뉴버시르스라 근데 인상 디 아니 가족이 뒤서 돌아마다네 얘다 센데 예와메 봐라 근데 뒤따다 아니 로직 자 아니 바 유샤와 많이 바 카드 이네 수수기 비즈니스에 돼 아니 패키지 좀 차고 레스라 디라고라 아니 얘다 센데 예와메 바 이네스 아니 얘생 고마 얘라 된 것도 돼봐자 아니 셈블레디가 삼바 Thosamling 아니 곰발레디 아니 먼저디 메디테이션 하고라 thosamling 곰 된대기 제에 아니 제세 신주 좀 주버래라 오라 디양 알아서 된주 미리네지 치투 그러면서 심지 심바도 칼리 커버와 그나 지 아우네즈도 배샤와인 콜 아마니 비문단 라데라고데 쿠디 삼타신 말라 심지 심바 치데 심미도 카투카도 키슬라베네 디기 파타투 바삼타데 레바디르 녜바디르라니 녜인지비라 된대기 콘솔라 시르요 말라 근데 인상 알아서 된조디 아니 자와침보다 이가와인 바디 엔토레스.
So this first stanza, since we have taken birth in this like human form, which is very favorable to the study of Dharma, because this human body, this able human body, gives us the opportunity to actually listen to the Dharma, to reflect on the Dharma, and to meditate on the Dharma. And this ability is only human beings have this ability. If we take the example of a parrot can be taught to like mimic how to recite a mantra, but then that parrot will not be able to like meditate on it or like reflect on the meaning of that mantra. So this is why the author, he says, this human, knowing that this human life is precious, knowing that this human life is very favorable to practice the Dharma, to listen to the Dharma, to reflect on the Dharma, and to meditate on the Dharma, we have to strive day and night. Like we have to strive every time without straying into idleness, like without being lazy, to free oneself and to free others from this samsaric existence.
Sometimes 저기 패션나로 시셔가 지우만 봐. 수수기 니르니르 산다라. 맞아. 패션 되는 데 시셔를 그 미케 바지기 데 시셔산 데 좀 되고 막. 디소소 산다나 아주 미시 리버시 뭐 간데 미팅 아주 시소나면 통도라. 비상 미시디 약포치네 문에 그랑 콜레 제투에기 니바 빼마시바기 슈첨보다 니바 첨보다. 라. 베나 베도 샤와이나 다나가도 직선이 바래 가리나다. 진나는 칼을 도투바 사올은 주투바 빼 슈체도 아 냐마 로는 도고야 된데서 주저하신다 까마하신다 레래 아 따디서 지금 폰으로 내네 타르고 가데니 계시야 당저 지금 저 제투에 된데 두는 참 미수주라 맞아 미세 무슨 도 통화치네 다디 미양 야쁜 맞이나 두어치네 밀는 거 빼라 순지 신박이 제투 말라 배는 잠는 삼아 또절로 밤 담도 수다 라 second signal 참았더 투에 된데 수도에 니버이 밀려요 제가 미싱이 돼 야포치네 항상에게 야포치 니버요 두제치네 아 그거 두제치 니버 슈첨부 된데 진짜도 그래서 순지 신바도 된데 제도 말에 계속 건증지 파스 찍니 세워야네 잠니 참았더 투에 된데 저도 말아 아니 지금 난갈란 주도에 사올런 로도에다 된데 건 수도 말아 근데 인san 미싱이 돼 가르치니 아니 가르치는 치투니기 니바이니기 미싱이 된데 차고 레스라마 다 망쳐라고 나 가시가지도 뭐 돈이어와 근데 인san 다나 하나서 단데 치유나를 치우는데 지금 근데 밀리자와 친구도 치우셔라 땅에 디바 마사야다 아니 지금 미신 발라 신뱅이 자와 두투에 니바든 간절에 요인사 아니 퇴성 검사 제 아니 수수 두바스 진짜 때는 사제기 고마한테 ndö니기 가사지나 수수기 흘준다 두바냐면 쓰신지는 사제기 고마 다벨에 배고라 또 되시고라
So like now like without being too close-minded and just reading the text and trying to understand the text, maybe like if we try to think about like human beings in the real sense of the word, like in currently, and then like it's evident that like human potential is immense, because like if we give a small example, like now like science and development, like science, it's progressed so much, like now people can fly up in the space, people mine the earth to like try to get at the core of the earth. And then like back in the days, like when people had to travel months or years to cover a certain distance, now we can cover them in few hours. So this is a example of like the potential of human beings as a species. But when this potential is misused, or when this potential is misguided, then we also know that there are like very like bad examples of like bad examples or unfortunate incidents, like the bombings, then like these weapons. These are all like a part of like this human potential being misguided. So we can even think about this as a like a realistic example, and then we can try to connect this with what the text says about this human life being of immense potential and of being like a favorable, being with favorable conditions to practice the Dharma. So ni sanggeji 고방 토벨라 ni 퇴니르 쳐볼래 간데송래.
제상 데데 인상 안 하고 단다 지 상제가 고마타 원데 발에라 순드니지나 상마다 레전드 상제 고반데 되게 쳐봐요 말이네다 데긴 되니지네야 단단 안서 리데디 치도 그랬어 무슨 심바도 치도 말아 제상 안서 퇴바 당부 퇴야게 아니 베주체다 안 상마다야다 고미야 든주 참마 된주 밀리 리데디 가는 안서 치도 그랬어.
So like now like since we're trying to study a Buddhist text right now, and the ultimate aim of a Buddhist, of course, is to achieve enlightenment. And when you try to, if we think about it, then like citing all these examples, then this human life, it is quite evident, like all of us as human beings, we have the same potential to achieve enlightenment if we are able to make the best use of this human life that we have. And so the author, he implores the reader, or he teaches the reader, that with this human life, this precious human life, which is endowed with like immense potential, which has like all the favorable conditions, then knowing like this, the preciousness of this human life, he implores the reader to engage in trying to listen to the Dharma, trying to reflect on the Dharma, and trying to meditate on the Dharma. And this, in the first stanza, he says, this is the practice of a Bodhisattva, to try to listen to the Dharma, to reflect on the Dharma, and then to meditate on the Dharma, knowing or having an appreciation of this precious human life that we have.
당아도 쉬우쉬우바 출루셔만을 로망보자 안데 거거대라는라 이내야 지금 개받는데 두 고노냠데 계시시 인데 치를 출 상마게 지 미르지야 로바체고야다 라 상대 이제 로지 군절래다 근데 조고라서 아니 지게 참에게 지게 야보체와이나 소소 다이를 돌래다 아니 두자체는 이어돌래 참 지송도르다 아니 가시다 레진데 켈레만에도 제바여라 간다만다 추기 돈에 쉬치류 같이 치료니 가르 힌두 가르이나야 미야고 쓰고야다라 근데기 랍제되다 근데 이제 아주 치료 수이나 쳐봐야 말은 안아서 단단 안아서 렌샤주게 밀리디 아니 자와 첨부지다 대 표시하고 땅와라 치료 쓰기 야고 손이나 되는 염려 치는데 되게 첨부지서라 파이 치료 첨부지기 직시 아버지 손이나 대 콘저 치료라는 파이에만 야버지는 가서 야고 참는 데 거야 되게 첨부라 간단만단 안아서 잠이 나로라지 야가리디 가리는 수수게 냠미 채고야 돼 뺏게 정말라.
So I would like to recount this experience that I had when I participated in this workshops or summits, this interreligious or interfaith summits that I had attended. I noticed that irrespective of like the difference that you have in like ideology, or like irrespective of the small differences in philosophy that we have among the religions, I in my interaction with like the people from other faith, or these experts from other faith, I realized like they almost every religion almost stresses the importance of the same message, like to practice like love and compassion for other beings, to trying to benefit other beings, and to have an appreciation for this precious human life. And they all have the same message of like trying to do like good deeds, and good deeds having like having a reward for you in heaven or in the next life, like wherever you believe. But they always stress the importance of this. The message is always the same.
같이 줄이는데라 안티 니마니 장 되네제 알이 수수기 줄 가서다 야보 채워이나 알아서래야 되시는 그러나 두제시는 뭐 당세 얘도 코란저다 지네고보다 군주 되고를 때 간다치 야보 채워는 야가 용해지 두제시는 마드지 사매기 캐낸다도 도래다 근데 인상 알아서 가르모 가리네 줄을 수 있네 간다 시소나라 팬바지다 아니 수수기 지 미치 된다데만 미치 야보 채야지라 먼저도 있단데 찐이 맛이 봐도 밀르네 맛이야 다 야보치 파는 로투나 디기 카 줄을 가르키 켈레나이레 지게 레진데 켈레니는 가서 디바사고 말아 줄을다 지겨 하시던데 이렇게 말에 나와이나 그냥 찐이 맛이 봐도 미 아버지 지나 그냥 미치 거나 지고 있노라 근데 니절 때도 그냥 이것도 레진데 켈레니 지나라 나 줄이 뭐 무지 레진데 켈레니도 근데 켈레니는 신드잖아 뭐 인데 지고 이 맛이 되다 hinjada 근데 유행이 바래 단도디가래 안 껴와 주만에 주마 아니 캬나라 베다 거래 야고사이나 되네 아니 대주고 밀리타와다 아니지 타나 아니 사제고 고마타야 되네 펜토여와다 아니 근데기다 지진차고라 아니 다 자왕하시도 켈랭이면 아다다 세디마도 요마라니 켈랭와이나 캬 야보체와이나 캬를 조보마와 녜마와 아니 기부 라스서 바래와저거나 저서요 수치 나나 수수 바체도 근데기 끼우다 세상 근데기 펜데 레스토랑
I will now I remembered something like I also had the opportunity to like study the Kajigiji the Beja as I went I also had the opportunity to listen to a Muslim preacher for 2 days when I attended like these workshops, and like the message that in his like teaching he taught about like how if you engage in like virtuous deeds, then like you after your death then you take rebirth in the realm of Allah or like near Allah or in heaven, and then if you take part in like non-virtuous deeds, then like you go to hell. This like when I heard these like messages, then I had this like feeling inside myself that maybe the messages of all religions, they are the same. Like it's about how like you can implore or how you can transform someone to like be of use or be of benefit to society, and like and to teach them how to live a meaningful life. So it doesn't matter whether you accept karma or whether you accept a creator. In the end, like the message is the same. It's about how to make the best use of this human life we have, and how do we use this human life with its immense like potential to be of use to society or to be of use to others, and to live a meaningful life ourselves.
chino bani de kaga chejera ta khanda endelandi wor ngaso sheja ta jangaina jang cha jiyo marwa susul kar gogodu susul kar phendo chimbudu ta susulane pa dajin yiga ta susul mizina la kar yaga ta kar phendo che ti ja de kecho marwa chidangi chilu chama samagi mitir jang kal khabura marwa ine ngaso taya ta gora phagidila kar sun phagidila andina lecha zama lane taya dale ya de bekecho marwa
컨디션에 인용하지 시자 탐지에 따야 되는데 뒤지 공개 말했으라.
일단 제일 창말 가지 배제 창말로 내가 듣는데 돼. 그래서 칼카보다 이내 수수 강의 중요기 테스트 따야 계셔보다. 좋아. 파게들라 직 두자 인샤샤다 어디서도 야고 인샤 되네 뭐인기. 파게들라 가르송도 파게들라 야고 있는 레체 됐으냐. 수수ങ്ങള레 레체이나 파시야. 근데 제와이나 아니 나도 잠니 나로래 칼칼이로 줄이 된데 요거래 아니 직 야가리도 파츠 빼와이네 야가도.
So, of course, like you have to have this spirit of openness and like this spirit to being open to discuss and exchange ideas. But if we are being practical, it's almost impossible to study like all the different scriptures that all the different faiths or religions that are being presented. Of course, you have to be open to exchange, open to discussions, and this creates the basis of harmony between faiths and all. But then, like, you have to be wise, and you have to know, like, this is something that I can use, and this is something that I want to learn. So you have to be able to choose, you have to be able to wise enough to choose, like, because life is short, and you cannot, like, ever hope to, like, learn all sources of knowledge, or like study all the scriptures that there are in this world. So you have to be able to be wise in choosing, like, what is your requirement, what is needed for you, what is going to be effective for you.
Omanen batarasle digala tachinagi sende yon tundu jiresra tele susol gogo kare pendo chewaiwa dinga zalane taya ta mila baba chewene mudi kan taya kechambura de inzani tindegi tigi lebi chata ta pese chana chana sunsasu ineya odi nganjoge pachebe chen su nyamne chen ta zupe kechambura dejas kare inane nganjo jiya 왜 담배래 lapje 집에 가네 요스라 콜라 요 말랍제네 해 말들이 요 많이 바 카리네 카와이네 미 개바잖아네 미 저거잖아네 지 카리네 수수 레비 차트 수수 미츠 나로라 나네 다 개침라
ngangba omatla는 ngangbal나 장ang바
장ang바다 치도 오마크 수수 치시그라 수수 제고야 카르도 빵고야 카르도 가서 미신이라 되나시기 전에 치도 오만 리사디가 체크하고 베르라 이네 되네 ngamba 코라야 더 많이 베기들이 체투에 진이바지라 근데 말라나 디고 칼랑 코도 디펜던트 시다
so even there is a Tibetan proverb wherein, like, it says labja chibe khalayo. This is like it's meant to say, like, you can even pick up, like, advice from the mouth of a child. So, like, you can always learn something from everyone. Everyone is a source of knowledge, or source of, like, everyone can be a source of like inspiration for you. But then you have to be practical too. So so you have to be practical in, like, making the best use of your own time.
Dice ani nganzo tanda tsiji de mo long nga sama shi de ni lo jura chidun te kan nganzo tsiji ro shi maro teulo nga shingi du sam ro de tadi ngune gi de ji sun do de tande gi de le ka de sam ta ro ti sam ta de pe ki chambre de nganzo chunju ga le na de lonji chi or Gompa ta san de lonji chi ani ge la lo ju te tada ho mare ga shong ho ne lo tsiji de pe zamzo sholo chi lo le sin na gonda de ga la ju te de do ta chunju ga la ha ho mar ta kale de pe ra tanda ho mare ine di jela sam ta undu gal di lo le sin ma ina hanzo ge chidanta kondo ta sin khaw ingera lo le sim thuna ya bo restra di chidang gi di zoya de karsna di lo le yubi thoni ani susu sanatan ra al peshana dine sunju tande gi dile susu karsam da kar nyame chi gu du santana ani ma photo chedo mishi simba ga zo imbari samdo shera tiya sheda chimda.
So this text is written in such a simple manner that if you take a read through it, like if you take the first line, it's first stanza, and then if you take a read through it, it will feel like you understood the meaning of this, like a line, or like and you will be satisfied with it. But this is not the way to approach this text, or any kind of Dharma text. The approach is to try to relate this to your current experiences, to try to relate this to your own reality. Like, does this apply to me? Can I think about this particular concept from my own, like, experiences? So try to relate this to your own daily or current experiences, and then you will be able to gain a different sort of perspective or a deeper insight into the text. Because when I was young, I remember, like, we had to, like, memorize these texts. And so as a kid, when we memorize this text, we feel like, okay, after memorizing this, we have a basic understanding of the text. But now, as I've spent like years studying the Dharma, then like every time I read a single line from a text like this, like there is like so much opportunity, or there is so much space for me to like meditate on, to try to contemplate on, and try to like gain like a deeper understanding from a single line.
tandagi tsigi thamadale ani nyensen gomba jese lale yin le sungudra tangzu shewe na ande le ya thambo jase theba ma de tsesra thambo ngzu glebro chores ro ani ko chilu kari na suzu chi glebro che de peke chembur thambo ne ro ani thambo chi kheba jana chunda ma ne suzu taja de thuja de chembu chora ani ta par ani ngzu pana tambo the ani sam tam so sam tam tambo pa tambo ngzu mago wa ina ngzu chigi sam ta e ma tambo ko keba ma bojana so la mai na ta disan shi to ta jana kara ina ya po nye do tinde ji nye andi gal sam tam restra sam tam de chig le ni je ba ka tinde de ne risha sam tam de je la ani thama de la ngzu gomja ra jidang de khashi disan nam so tambo gomja ya te ngzu ya chig la na chig khare yo la na theba mebe ane gomba de la don talan je ba ina jira 수수기 퇴바미와 있는 곰자에는 곰칼도 하고 자요 뭐라 제상 당보도 퇴바드니 아니 곰자에는 아니 먼저 탈은 자고는 자투여로 저라 계속 엔들라 퇴바미비 곰바들 나돈 탈은 자바인 제한들이 가르라고라나 직 럽노로다 지투선 곰소 개고지 맞는 곰자기나나 아니 개토고 말했어 파이고 수수기 상도 다스들 발레토고 말했어 빼는 천한데 락과 미주징아 탈은 자기나나 탈은 스미에게 락과 주고라 신도에게 디메와이나 콜라보 탈은 자토고 말아 되나시지레스 근데 인사 담보 퇴선 곰소 제야도 빽게 좀 말했어.
So in any like field of study, not just talking about the Dharma, we can like we can. It's quite evident that the first step of a study, or the first step of learning, is to listening or hearing someone like talk about the particular field of study. So we can relate this to the Dharma too, and it's very important to first engage or try to like try to engage in listening to a verbal presentation or a teaching of the Dharma, and then this like now in this day and age with social media and different websites, this you can do. You have the avenue, like you have the opportunity to listen to the Dharma more than ever. And then like the second step will be to reflect on what you have heard, reflect on the teaching on your own. And then the final step is meditation, trying to like meditate on these qualities and trying to imbibe or internalize these qualities. And in Tibetan Buddhism, there is a saying like someone who tries to engage or tries to meditate without listening to the Dharma, then this is likened to someone trying to climb a cliff without hands, So without like listening to the Dharma first and trying to reflect on the Dharma, then if you go straight to meditation, then it becomes almost pointless and becomes a very hard job. Are you able to understand the teachings so far?
So didi ganzo kalona tanda kashi le pesha korra pesha ya de shegi chidera kashi dina yoyore ani mejoyore di kalana pe ganama shegi thapse do tan la bora pugu chunju do ngi manga pugu chunju de ne igla miyora theji kalana ko goda do pe ga adila nam sa jitu da dina shegi chuna chunju de mare de ngazo ge chike lo de kinsa do ngarai ne ma ge ma pesha na di gala 돼지부 갈르는 고쳐입니다. 빼셔는 이제 신이 오시다. 대인상 쪽이 되라 kanal share the pit in the Shaggy restaurant.
So before I used to teach like small kids, and when I try to teach them just the meaning of the text, then it becomes very tough for them to like understand what I'm talking about. So when I give like examples, then they're kind of able to like relate to the example and they have a better understanding of the text. This is not to say like you are childlike, but the human mind is such wherein even for myself, when my teacher, when my guru, when he taught me, I was able to gather a better understanding of the text when he gave me examples. And this is like how like all like Buddhist, the Tibetan Buddhist texts are presented. They are replete with examples and metaphors. And this is to give the student like an opportunity to relate these concepts to their daily life and to have a better understanding of the text.
Ima ngarai kuni special odi gala di ped mamu shaida. Tan pebek dan nya ala jido. Da me to da khang ki chue na la kharashi igen do thingyo. Ima ditta di gala di peden di shedre da khaji pe keba do di zomde ani pe hi jo shu thi da. Ra zanda nga ti gomma ze de chue la di gala lo di nyumo pa ya chi bure. Ti reda ji khang da khari na chama pe shaido. Ra ti man bu kharashi igen ngone ngala thingyo da. Tel khatu kore ji session di do 대박하진 않을 때 리얼 내가 이제 콜레칼레 카우로자 내가 마시네 뜻 칼레 카우이트라 근데 제가 전장 아주 직배다 근데 샤왈들이야 시엘에 좀 리얼하고 차이다 근데
So in my experience and in my study of the classical texts, I used to find it odd that like they are filled with like these metaphors and like they're like poetic nature, like these metaphors, examples. And then like I used to think like this is supposed to be a dharmic text, a text of the Dharma, then why is it so concerned about like trying to present it in a poetic like form, trying to give you these metaphors and examples. And now like now as I have a deeper understanding of the text, I realize like this is to give you they use these metaphors and they try to present it in a poetic form so that the reader or the student is able to have a better understanding of the text by relating these examples to their like current experiences and current reality.
Katu ne mashe de mshitira chi rimu gan la ten de ne shida munda no che gal nga zo thapa de chen de le bi shida de yom ra ta de san kali kali chi li da ti gal thapu che ani tara ni dep chi gu gal yu di gal shi di gal nga zo pe kali ra ta ti san kar de la chi dang ge khashi ni chi da pu la ma la wa ina chi rimu gal lan ten ro ra ani yan de shi de de khanda khue la share la de tha da then I think it's not get them no na hamata me someone needs to tochi digala could pedenchi ma session kodoero chegijira tang so the descala how chegda today the tanda dingela chik rida rawada chik mamuji pesha de someone karechene share chi shawara.
So I'm stressing this point because like when you read this text, don't be off-put by these examples, don't be off-put by like these metaphors. And because like in my own experience, when I was like introduced like to the classical Buddhist like education, the first text that we are introduced was like logics, dialectics and debate. And like when we are reading those texts, like the teacher or the guru, he teaches like just looking at the text. Not like now, like when a teacher teaches these days, they make use of like drawings, presentations and such, so that students can learn better. But back in the days, it was not like that. But like when we have an opportunity to read a text like this, such as the 37 practices of the Bodhisattva, replete with like examples and metaphors, then like you have the opportunity, like you have the opportunity to use your imagination and to use your like current experiences to try to relate to the text. So this is why the Buddhist texts, they are like replete, they are filled with this like poetic devices. So as we have 5 minutes left for this session, so far you have any like immediate like questions, immediate things that you didn't understand?
Isn't these examples and metaphors that are used for us to contemplate actually deeply on the text? So I guess like if a teacher wants to decipher everything to the student, in Farsi you have like the expression that we say it's like chewing a bite and putting it into someone's mouth. So
chewing a what?
Chewing a bite and putting it into someone's mouth, as if like the student themselves aren't doing anything. if everything is explained and presented in a nice way and is very understandable, then where does the contemplation part, which is a part of the student duty, coming in?
The moilana the pedan beijing mango shadow asra the Quran la da thanda thöngura thöne da samlodaing gi gogabro ji tuyechi to marves kisi gigenji ge yora da dinala yogyo changma chema chishi ma sheshana yora bu Quran zo ge namje da ji ge samlodaing gi gogab megyo doji ani bu Quran la da miji ge so gyap changma che shipshi dan kana lugyo doji chagi dos ndi khande inas
제자래 단단하고 되게 그런들 다디 라차로 치쳐버라 가르로 단단하고 되게 자야죠 단단하고 되게 레시죠 릴레이션 마도 다처럼 되게 빼 딜레션 대비션 받창마 시트 참아디가 스푼토에 다시당 그랬어 단단하고 되게 대충주들 데미도 오시랬어 라 지난 되게 빼서 전부도 고주유주다 빼다 지금 랑가야 보통 라 대송 무슨 제단 미치 제단 가래 있는 제소 파션투다 인 저거 공단도 다 참아디는 도 상식선들이 남배기 연애면 참아디는 도 뭐래 봐 근데 이제 단다 제간들 내가 히 쉽차고 제를 가면 다른 아주 데미도 오지 차고랬어 다 딜 패션 그랑이 대신 뭐 빼만보여 근데 참아디가 안 쓸까리가 스폰토에 다시당 그랬어 단다 쉽차고 가지 내게는 그랑저기 맞자로지 맞자 가는 라인 봐 칸바도 마소네 저기 칼로다 마시로 시더라 마시디가 인간도 감바 가디 잡자랬어 담보 어디 슈처잖아 뺏기 참버렸어
Of course I understand your concern and now like to try to put this thing into perspective this text, this 37 stanzas, it's a concise like a text like concise text based on this text which is like this thick so like this is when I explain to you like these like metaphors in detail, this is to like create a foundation, or so you have when I explain this like in a little bit detail, then if you gain an appreciation or gain like this desire to learn more, then you can actually jump to like this text afterwards, wherein like everything is like in much more detail, like all the stages. So this text could serve as a key to unlock like your curiosity or your desire to learn like more like detailed text later.
세상에서 단단 남배기 스님들 장탄도 특기를 하면 저버든 니만 뭐 저래 봐. 봐. 티 가지도 뒤져서 로드니 뭐 미치기 미치샤트 남주시는 저거라. 티 칼은 땡 서우야 뭐 셰치더라. 그래서 미 가지기 디자 간데 저거라나 대만부 장에라네 당가로 쓰다가 파션장 오마장 저장 직장 이마 같이 있다고 말아. 티 미다스스 마도셰. 슈마 미기 트와테지 코신라 통마. 가르나 셰바야 보장 말아. 근데 진짜 시치가처럼 야포 장와이나 아니 셰바도 수수이 데블로네 가르 코르. 봐. 따처럼 게 데드 장가스야 나가 디장이라네. 슈마처럼 디 가르를 미 트와이스 지금 라마토야. 소소사노 타나 타마셰로 저거. 근데 진짜 시치가처럼 야포 쳔 셰와이나 데브셴바가 단동안도 대치 마인게 주주 신바이나 가사카라 요라. 그 참만가는 스폰이 알레 데는 디네지도 파길레 디레샤 디니 되어 된 산노 코야줘라. 디 라브르베 자나 디 디데베라브르베 디에라브르베 디 타마달리 치데 이미지로 쳐고라.
So at the start, like as I said before, at the start of the classical monastic education, we start with logics, debates, and dialectics, not studying these texts. So when we study logic, debate, and dialectics, we are like taught to debate on one single word, and then we argue and we debate about this single word for months on end. And then like we focus, we study logic, debate, and dialectics for years on end. And for a normal layperson, maybe this might like look insane. Like why are they like just arguing about one thing? Why are they like debating about this? Why are they so focused on debating for years on end? But this is to sharpen your reasoning. You know, when you approach this text, you do not blindly follow them. Like you are able to actually use your intellect. So likewise, DJ di hande sune tanda zoba da di diksa DJ la ale rabero be ma cham sune
rabero ma shi tawshin jamena ani di tebdi ji yapoji shiwaina ra shimba chamaga tsukung di la tsasa
Nowadays, maybe the approach to studying text or reading a book is different from the classical sense of the way or the classical Tibetan Buddhist sense of the word. Because nowadays people read a book, this book, they read on a certain topic, then jump on to certain topic, then they jump on touching on a lot of topics, but only on a surface level. But I would recommend you to focus on one text and to study it deeply with all your concentration and all mindfulness. And this is a better way of approaching a text rather than touching a lot of topics on a surface level.
Pena tangaro de injiro chilo yana dundo chunu chilo yana ti dundo di malo ni di nalo la ta dungu joja shiro ti che ti nalo la chi jido chi digi dunda ha ko bache ha ma go na che ta sha che khan ya po ji pu da bo jan ting chama shi yana tanga shem ba tablo de pele ho che ra di ma de ra ro ji de di lo na ga ni chama ta ra je de wa kya ji je ta ma ma je anja shi du sa me to da Estin savage to the dealer Karstene Karshare and the Samia Resra. Chitanga, Doya Lesser, Parpadress and Jihora. In the China college gem de Saranga, Yamuchi Mashi, and the Pet Shayat and Jad Shero, Tinichin Resra.
Yes. So I will give you the example when someone who's trying to learn English, he reads one novel, and then if he's able to concentrate on the one novel and he gives his full effort to try to understand this one novel and trying to learn all the new vocabularies and all the different things that's written in this novel, then if he's after reading this book, if he reads another book, then of course he'll be able to understand he'll be able to enjoy the other novel too. But if someone who is trying to learn English and he's just on the surface level try to read it without trying to learn the new vocabularies, without trying to understand the novel, and tries to jump to another novel, then of course he's not going to understand the other novel. He has the same problem with his English. So this is why don't be outfooled by the repetitions, by this little detailed explanations and these metaphors, because this is to try to give you the opportunity to gain a appreciation of the text.
Dide ngara za ta ngzo le ma bu lo ma bu chi de ha ga nyam ni zam de gi ge zu pe ma bu sha ma bu sung ra ta ti le de thya de ban jo sung sha na ji do thing ge ra ti pe de khal nga zu jin ru bu de ya la phen to du ra zam na ma a ni ma ge de chi sung sa da ni yan ja thya shi do che za ji pe da ja shi yang shi zo ya da pe ga la sha de ju ma nga la sam ta ya da chi ne ga ji thung da a de ne yo sa thya ba so ya la pe phen to du ra.
Recounting from my own experiences when I learned from my gurus, I had the same exasperation that you have, why are we going into detail, what's up with all this metaphors, but now when I look back, I used to wish he will just go on with the teaching, on with the main meaning of the text, but then now when I look back, I remember the examples, or I remember the repetitions that he made, and with this I'm able to relate to the text more.